Welcome. My name is Doreen Riley. I'm Vice President for Advancement here at Carroll, and we have a very exciting project that we want to give you all a sneak preview of today. So we're hoping that at the end of this presentation, with a little bit of time for Q&A if we have it, that you all are as excited about it as we are at the end of this. So we have with us today to present, we have our Provost and Academic Vice President, Steve Herbert. He has led our academic side of the house of John Carroll for the last couple of years, and he actually has direct experience in managing or oversight of what we're going to share with you today from another institution. And then we also have our nurse consultant, Jamie Sunoco. She's on the screen, she can wave. She has been really helping us put this program together, and she has helped other institutions like John Carroll put programs like this together very successfully. I would say at least a half a dozen, maybe 10. And she joins us from the University of Detroit Mercy, where she is also a faculty member, but she has been helping us put this together. So with that introduction, and with quite a few people on the Zoom call, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Herbert to walk us through what John Carroll has coming forward. Dr. Herbert.
Thank you, Doreen. Thanks for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. I want to thank you in advance for your passion for John Carroll and your support to this point. We hope we bring an exciting opportunity for you as a bold direction for John Carroll as we take a step into our inspired future. Let me see, are you seeing the slide yet? You're seeing the slides, okay. Let me just get organized here and make sure I've got everything. So we are going to talk about the direction that we're going to go for our healthcare offerings at John Carroll University. You know, healthcare is an interesting and complex field now, and it's grown over certainly the last decade, and probably even longer than that, to be more complex and interdisciplinary and engaged. It's added to the experience of the healthcare customer, but it's also been a difficult experience to navigate often. You find today in our healthcare institutions, they're not just hospitals and doctors, but they're also single care units, and they're extended care units, and they're ancillary and emergent care, and a whole host of things. And it's not just you're seeing a doctor anymore. You're seeing a nurse practitioner, you're seeing a physician assistant, you're seeing psychiatrists and psychologists, you're seeing social work, you're seeing a whole host of people that wrap around you and add to the care and experience that you have. And this is, we're sitting in a hotbed of healthcare across the nation and across the world. And John Carroll is really poised to participate in this healthcare environment and experience in meaningful ways. And so as we look at what we've got and what we've been doing, how do we up our game? So we have a strong STEM education to ground on. Most of healthcare actually flows out of and through our science and technology majors, or rather knowledge. And so it's a foundation that, yes.
So your slides are not advancing.
Okay, so thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let me make sure that we're sharing. How about, can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so let me go back to the first slide that I was talking about, the future of healthcare. I won't repeat it, but saying that the healthcare is interdisciplinary and interprofessional, and it takes a lot of skill sets to really be successful in any healthcare profession that you pursue. And then, as I've started to talk about here, it's founded on this strong STEM education. But we also have, look, as part of any healthcare, it's a business. It takes business practices and acumen to be able to be successful in whatever healthcare area and avenue you move into. We have recognized world-class business programs. And then what you don't think about is, look, what makes a good practitioner? It's world-class humanities and social science faculty that broaden you beyond the technical skills necessary to be successful in healthcare and brings the personal element. We integrate that and wrap it up in our Ignatian core curriculum, that it's an integrative core curriculum, that it takes all disciplines and brings them together and gives you this value add and this sort of human personality, personal touch And then with our mission, our stated mission for learning, leadership, and service, connected with our Jesuit charism of cur personalis, that is care for the whole person, not just the body in front of us, but the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. And then Magis, looking for what's the greater good? How do we serve the world's great needs? All this gets wrapped up in the experience that our John Carroll students have when they come here. And the culmination is that it creates really excellent candidates for healthcare providers and healthcare workers. And so we have this foundation to grow on. And so it's kind of like, well, why wouldn't we do this? So we're going to take this step into the healthcare field more intentionally. And as we go through, we're introducing, today I'm going to talk about new curricula in nursing in particular, but we're also introducing new curricula in health sciences more generally. And we will be infusing them with the learning, leadership, and service opportunities for discovery and applied learning and student engagement that is pervasive across all of our majors. It's almost impossible for a John Carroll student to get out of John Carroll without having some sense of service and engagement with a broader community. And this will be certainly true for our nursing as well, our nursing students. So our healthcare strategy is sort of on three pillars. We have a pre-health programming, and I'll unpack each of these a little bit in a moment. Pre-health, we have healthcare administration policy, and then a direct care, which is where we're going to focus most of our time on nursing. This will all culminate in a College of Health Sciences or a college to be named exactly later. How fast we move towards the college will depend both on the progress we make with the programs, and I also literally depend on you as supporters of John Carroll to help us make this vision come true. So first pillar, pre-health, not going to spend a lot of time on it. We're already doing this. This graphic right here really indicates that we have this kernel of the health sciences core that I discussed a moment ago, and then you can branch out in different directions and follow typically health-related programs that are at the graduate level. So we're already doing this, the pre-med and pre-dental and pre-veterinary. We have a strong program that we place students at med schools, dent schools, veterinary schools all the time. There's these other programs that we certainly have pathways for. We need to up our game. We need to do a better job of telling students, come here for this undergraduate experience. It's going to position you really well. And then you can go out into these graduate programs or postgraduate programs as necessary to get the professional skills that we have. We may expand into some of these in the future, but that's really looking at the future. So as I said, we're already doing that. Healthcare administration and policy, again, we're sitting in Cleveland, Ohio, you know, a hotbed of national and international healthcare policy and practice and research. And I don't see anybody in our region who's dominating how do we form leaders for the future of healthcare? And John Carroll has a role to play in this, and we need to step into this in a more meaningful way. So healthcare administration, both for the administration side and the medical leadership, that's another avenue that we need to look into. And then how do we contribute to the local national future of health conversation? That is healthcare policy. There's the Master of Public Health, the Master of Public Administration. All those directions we can go. And we're taking steps to move into that market more intentionally. But what I really wanted to focus on today is our direct care programs. And I wanted to indicate that we do have some of these, but we need to take the next step. So psychology is certainly a direct care program in some ways. Exercise science is related. You might not think of it that way, but it's really about the body and how we use the body more effectively. And we have a master's in counseling that is world-class. That is, you know, it dominates the region, particularly our substance use disorder certificate and disorder focus. That's growing greatly, and it is a program of distinction. What is our next step? Well, the next step is a nursing program, and particularly we start with a Bachelor of Nursing, a BSN. Of course, there's the Masters of Nursing, which would follow probably pretty quickly. But essentially, all of the healthcare of today runs through a nursing foundation, and in some ways, you see nurses as the gatekeeper for certain programs, triage as the first step of care. They're even advancing into more extended care as you have nurse practitioners and related practical outlines. And so then you also have nursing education and ancillary support programs that often are founded on the skills that a nurse brings to the program. So for us, this is the most sensible step for us to take, is to start a Bachelor of Nursing program. We'll talk a little bit about what a BSN means when Dr. Seneco gives her presentation. But this for us is the step that we're really excited to take, and we're well prepared to do that. So why nursing? Well, there is a global demand. Part of our mission is where the world's great needs meets our great passion. And certainly not only in our region, but in the nation and in the world, there's a critical and growing need for nurses, for trained and effective nurses. I'll unpack that a little bit later. Certainly our mission is learning, leadership, and service. JCU prepares students really, really well to take their part in society and bring leadership and service. Our experience across all of our majors is that students go, and when they get jobs, within 6 months to a year, they're actually in leading positions and recognized within their community as being leaders in whatever job opportunity they've stepped into. And that's because of the preparation that we have, both the Jesuit charism and John Carroll's focus on mission and service. And then we have a tradition. We actually have many students who come through John Carroll and move into the healthcare positions, both in pre-med and medicine, research and management. We have a lot of students that go to work for the Cleveland Clinic or university hospitals or related healthcare fields, and then move around the world and contribute. So we have the mission, and we have the tradition to really be effective in this region. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jamie Sinetko, who's our interim director of nursing, and as Doreen indicated, associate professor of nursing at Detroit Mercy, another sister Jesuit school. So Jamie, without further ado.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you and everyone for being here. So I am a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for over 21 years, and I am just every day more and more, grateful and feel very blessed to be in such an amazing profession. Gallup poll has reported nursing for 18 years in a row as the most trusted professional with the highest ratings in honesty and ethical professional standards. And some of that is why we are seeing these growths. Certainly there's other reasons and things happening in our landscape in healthcare that are causing some of these surges, but we are seeing that the American Association Colleges of Nursing, we're seeing major growths. We're seeing that more and more high school graduates are interested in coming into nursing, which is great because we definitely need them. You can go ahead and advance. So COVID pandemic has been part of this, has highlighted some of this. So we have come to even more realize the vitally important role that nurses play as really the nursing healthcare. The nursing part of healthcare is the largest sector. It is the most urgent hiring need right now. We're seeing our nurses and our nursing graduates coming on with sign-on bonuses, opportunities out there to bring nurses back from retirement and train them and those sort of things, because there is such a great need, not just in your area, but in the whole world. And I do believe that John Carroll should be part of this solution. It's just a perfect missional alignment in my viewpoint. So we did have some organizations like the American Nurses Association and others who have been for a while now urging government to declare this a nursing staffing shortage a crisis in order to free up some funding, because we are looking for more and more ways to help the pipeline and increase the number of nurses getting to practice into bedside and then staying there and being cared for, because they're so vitally important within the whole mechanism of healthcare. Now, it is pretty interesting and confusing, this whole bachelor's degree versus associate thing. So I'm just going to take a moment to explain that a graduate must come from a state approved nursing school. It could be associate or it could be baccalaureate. And both of those graduates sit for the exact same national licensure exam. It's an exam given to every nursing graduate in North America, so the United States and Canada. And so unfortunately though, because of that, the vast majority are associate graduates. It's over, normally it's over 65% in the US of the graduates are associate degrees. So bachelor's degree is the minority, but we have got really sound research that's been out for many, many years from the Institute of Medicine and others that understand the need for the baccalaureate nurse at the bedside. It actually decreases morbidity and mortality. And so there has been so many incentives like magnet recognition and funding incentives and other such that have highly encouraged healthcare employers for many years to hire the baccalaureate degree nurses or higher only. So you actually have in your region, in the Cleveland area, some employers who are only hiring at the baccalaureate level. And so although you may have hundreds of nurses, the minority are the bachelors. Those are the ones that are needed. And then you have other employers, large employers in the area that will hire the associate degree nurse upon the caveat that they only have a certain number of years to get back to school and wrap up the BSN. So for example, there are only 42 of the most highly accredited, the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education, only 42 BSN programs in Ohio. So that's 22%, unfortunately. So the vast majority of the 189 pre-licensure programs in Ohio, most of them are preparing them at the associate degree level. So it's hard to tell, but the need is very, very high for nurses and even higher at the baccalaureate trained level. So yeah, the process, oh, do the process or, okay. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, this is a complete missional fit. So even our American Association of College of Nursing talks about this person-centered care that aligns perfectly with John Carroll's Jesuit Cura Personalis model. And so the AACN, American Association of College of Nursing, says that person-centered care is the respect for diversity, differences, preferences, values, needs, and other determinants of health that is unique to each person. So this is something that is unfortunately not being offered by your competition in the surrounding nursing schools. Oftentimes, nursing school is extremely prescriptive and inflexible and designed for one model of student only. And so to come up with a plan where each student is treated individually with the Cura Personalis model, where we meet them where their needs are. So there are times where students need to speed up or slow down, or they may need to retake a class, or they may have classes coming in from a different college. And to be respectful of that and to appreciate that and care for that would be unique in your environment. And I do firmly believe that that's missionally aligned. Plus, I think that it will help translate into a nurse who also behaves in the same manner. So that nurse then sees their patient and the patient's family also very unique and able to enter into healthcare critical thinking decisions by listening and thinking about the individual need and meeting them where they are to move them to where they want to go to. So I think that's really important. Okay, the Ohio Board of Nursing, we like to call them the OBN. So the OBN has, so on November 19th, they have approved what they call step one. That is the letter of intent. All that is just looking at a cursory view of the program administrator and certain preliminary considerations about John Carroll's status, and everything was great. And so that went through the process really well. And that allowed us to be introduced to the OBN and the OBN introduced to John Carroll. So now we have been assigned an administrator from OBN that we are in good communication with. And so we have better understanding of the details needed to move through every step to receive their approval. We would also be aligning this work with the Higher Learning Commission. The HLC requires many of the same sort of self-studies and site visits. And so it's optimal to work together so that there's not duplicative activities, but then maybe they can even visit together and then things can move more quickly because even though this looks kind of long, this is quick. So there's a lot of consideration. And so what this does is this offers a lot of opportunities for improvement. So we'll have a lot of support and we'll have the OBN and HLC help us build a stronger program, thinking far in advance on how to best onboard faculty, for example, and retain students. And we would hope for or ask for a plan of admitting students twice per year, perhaps every fall and every spring. And that would be about, sorry about that, about 30 new students at each cohort, so potentially around 60 students per year. It can go higher than that. Certainly we would want to make sure that we have the right resources and the faculty in place and whatnot, but there is some flexibility in those numbers. And so that's part of what we were built on, is that type of plan proposal. Okay, you can move forward. Okay, we got letters of intent, letters of support. So we have these are done. These are already, we had discussions with the chief nurse officers and they were so eager to meet with us. I can't even tell you, I was able to schedule calls with them next day and the day after. They were very excited to hear about this. They understand the need. They want to be partners. They want to offer nursing clinical spots or placements at their healthcare systems as part of recruitment and onboarding. They want to be a part of potential future community advisory boards at John Carroll. They were very, very excited and complimentary because they do know the high quality graduates that John Carroll has always graduated. So they think this makes perfect sense, and they were ready to sign letters of intent or letters of support. What happens with these is then they go to the Ohio Board of Nursing, and then in the future, after that, they will move forward to a real formal type of clinical articulation agreement that will happen. And then there is a whole clinical placement system set up. But based on this type of portfolio, these nursing students are going to have the most amazing experiences ever. They're going to be able to see patients from all spectrums and have all the clinical experiences, almost 1,000 hours of direct patient care clinical opportunities with these great partners.
These are world-class institutions that they'll be able to study at.
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, this is huge. It's awesome. So now, if something like COVID happened and nursing students didn't go to clinical, for example, one opportunity is simulation. Simulation is used to replace or augment those direct patient care experiences. So oftentimes, for really good reasons, we don't have enough pediatric placements because we have really healthy kids. For example, we do preventative care. So sometimes pediatric clinicals need to happen a little bit in the hospital and a little bit in simulation in order to get them the full experience, because we can't control that healthcare environment completely and see all the things that we want them to experience. So obstetrical, pediatric, for example, those are the big ones that we love to handle in simulation. And nursing education has been using human patient simulation for quite a while now. It's an instructional strategy to help the patients, students become, safer. We can craft these educational outcomes that we want that are like very high acute, low frequency. So this is our chance to really get the most experience, done in the simulation. It also allows them this chance to really critically think, decision make, debrief. They do all this in a controlled environment where they aren't at any risk, but also a live patient is also at no risk. So these are pretty amazing. And what John Carroll could purchase is some of these really high fidelity mannequins, these birthing mannequins, these mid-range fidelity skills mannequins. And if you haven't experienced them, they are amazing. They bleed and they turn blue and they talk, and they're computers, and they're really, really fun. The students really jump and they're just gravitated to them. They jump on them and just go for it. And they really treat them like they're real patients, because the environment that we can craft does look like a real hospital space. And so it's very realistic. So Dolan has a little bit of underutilized space. I think it'd be amazing to transform it into a state-of-the-art healthcare learning space that's not just for nursing, but who knows what it could be for in the future. So some of these spaces are already gorgeous, but I can only imagine how much more amazing they will become when they will could potentially look like a hospital of sorts. And so the next couple pictures show some better drawings and renderings of how this can play out.
Yeah, and we're talking about these spaces right in here, and these spaces in blue where some of these facilities would be located.
Yes. Yeah, nursing students tend to have this type of room, which is more skills oriented. Oftentimes our nursing students do non-invasive skill training on each other for a level of empathy and understanding. So for example, they will get in the bed and be the patient, and they will practice head to toe health assessments, vital signs, those type of things on each other in this type of environment. But this is also a space where you can put the mid fidelity mannequins, so then they can work on invasive techniques like an IV start or something like that on a mannequin's arm versus on each other, right? So this is very flexible educational learning space, and this would hold the whole cohort. So in something like this, you can get all 30 students in here with an instructor and have everything planned out and have some amazing, hands-on experiences to augment the didactic components. This is fun. This is high fidelity. So high fidelity nursing simulation suites. So this is the Cadillac of the mannequins, and they would be on those blue beds. There's 2 of them there. So in the center is what we call a control room. And this is pretty much where the professors would be. And that room tends to be dark. We don't have any lights in there because there's one-way glass as they're looking into the 2 rooms with the blue beds. And that allows them to see directly in, but they also have microphones. They have computer control over the mannequins, and there is audio visual capture with cameras. And that allows us to move them after a simulated experience into the exterior spaces where the 2 tables are. We call those debriefing rooms. And that's where the students do actually tend to have most of their learning occur in this very safe environment where they watch or they play back their experiences, and we are able to debrief and talk about ways we could have done differently and better. But closest to the bottom of the screen is that really long strip. It's really, really important. It looks boring, but it's storage. And we love our storage because we're going to have so many amazing parts, and we're going to be able to swap out. You can swap out gender, you can swap out wounds, and all sorts of great scenarios there. And so this is one of the potential drawings that can happen into that one of those blue Dolan spaces that we saw before. All right, that would be if you were in the control room and the room was dark and you could see in. Without it dark, if the lights are on, you couldn't see in, the glass wouldn't be visible. But inside you'd have multiple nursing students and you can hear everything that they're doing. And so if the students were to administer a medication, then the mannequin would respond appropriately with pupil dilation, heart rate elevation, those type of things. And then the students would need to figure out next steps. Sometimes we have people play family members and physicians and different people in the healthcare team as they have to work, with an interdisciplinary team. We already have amazing support. We have amazing support with faculty like Mike Martin and Jackie Zera have been working with me extensively. They have heard so many students have requested nursing in the past, and they are very excited to be a part of this and support this, to the point where some of the Dolan renovation might cause a little bit of readjusting of spaces, and they're open to that. Exercise science might have to move a little bit, and they're all being, they're very excited and supportive of it. So I just wanted to say that it's been really nice working with a supportive group. Vivian Fung. So I talked to Vivian. Vivian graduated John Carroll with a bio degree in 2017. She went on to Ursuline College for her bachelor's degree. She wishes she didn't have to. She wanted to stay. She is now a registered nurse at Cleveland Clinic, and she wants to come back and teach. She wants to be a part of this. She is so excited. She says that her and her friends that did the same thing as her, went on for nursing school, wish they would have stayed at John Carroll and just knew it would be a really good fit. So they're excited to hear about this potential.
Thanks, Jamie. So I'll tee up this part. One of the reasons, there are multiple reasons why we're pursuing the Bachelor of Nursing Science. Not only does it add to the world's great needs, and it fulfills our mission in that, but it also adds to John Carroll's strength. It's one of our most requested majors over the last decade or two. Most requested majors that we do not have, I should add. It will attract a minimum of 60 and probably will grow pretty quickly to closer to 100 new students a year. That's going to, over the 4 years of the program, that's going to add another 250 to 400 students. And that's not small in today's market. So that's important for us. It does also attract the fact that we have nursing as this foundation. It's going to attract other students interested in healthcare related programs. We're going to be able to build on that foundation, not only of the student population, but of the programs that are sort of ancillary to nursing and healthcare related. And it adds to our bottom line. And that's an important point in our current environment where, higher education is being constrained, and John Carroll's no different. We have challenges we have to address, and some of that we need to recruit new students. And this is going to be a big portion of how we recruit new students. It also serves the greater needs of our regional and national healthcare institutions. So that's no small thing, right? So this is one of those great things where there's alignment between our mission and interest and the world's mission and interests, and our regional mission and interests, and our students' mission and interests. So this is, in a sense, pardon me, but no brainer. And so I will turn it over to Doreen to talk about a little bit more of the rest part of how you can be supportive of us.
Thank you, Steve. So One of the ways that we are going to launch this program and launch this program quickly is by our donor and alumni community really helping us seed some of this money. So in order for us to do the renovations in the labs, to hire the faculty, to put together the clinical pieces, we really need investments. So we needed investments from our very generous alumni and donor community. And if you could go to the next slide, I mean, we feel like we have to do this. We should have been doing this for decades. I know in some of our student surveys that we have heard nursing has been really one of the #1 programs that students wished John Carroll would have offered over the years. So we feel like we are very uniquely positioned to offer a very high quality program. And so if you would go to the next slide, what we are doing is we're doing briefings like this. We're doing briefings one-on-one with people to invite them to help us kick this program off quickly. So there's a variety of naming opportunities that we are hoping our community will resonate with, but these are some of the opportunities to either name a lab, name a simulation, help us buy one of the high fidelity mannequins, help us hire nursing faculty. It's a very competitive space. So if we can endow some of the nursing faculty positions right at the start, it will really help us leverage to get the most high quality faculty for this program. And then we also want to be able to attract and retain a variety of students that fits with our mission. So if you see on the screen 100,000 for student success support, what that basically means is in all the conversations that we've been having, especially with the hospitals here in Cleveland, there is such a desire to recruit students even out of high school to work in those hospitals. And those hospitals would love to support students' scholarships to come to Carroll, and then to go do the internship and then to be hired to work in those hospitals, especially students in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. So what we want to do is raise money for what I guess we call wraparound services, so that students have not just the scholarship support, but they have the mentoring and tutoring and advising support that they can, that they need to be successful. So it's a commitment to our goal to increase diversity within our student and faculty population and staff. So we really want to kick all of this off with a bang. So if you could go to the next slide. So, even just doing a little bit of a sneak preview the last couple of weeks, that we are really getting a lot of enthusiasm. So if you can make a gift, great. We would love to talk to you after this. At a minimum, if you can spread the word that this is coming, so that you can go out into the community, to your networks of people, and let people know that John Carroll's got a very bold future and that we are taking giant leaps forward. So this is just one of the programs that we're going to start sharing with our alumni community and inviting people to help us kick it off. Yesterday, we did get a verbal commitment for a very significant gift for this program, which we're happy because we really need seed money to get this started. One of the things that we have baked into this project is that at what point does this new nursing program generate money for the university? So what is the net return to the university? And the way that we have built this program, we anticipate having to invest at least $4 to $5 million over the next 2 to 3 years to get this program off, to hire the faculty, to do the renovations, to set all this up. But if we're bringing in at least 30 students each cohort, so that would be 60 new students a year, the budget is set up that it would break even by 2025, or year 4 of the program, and that it would generate a return of about 2 to 3 million conservatively for the institution by 2026. So this is a great project to get started, to attract students to the university, and to be able to serve the community in a way that we think that we can do really, really well. So with that, we would like to open it up. If you have any questions of what our plans are, if you have any feedback for us. This is a super sneak preview that you all have signed up for. So I invite it if anyone has a question of us or of our program. We have about 41 people on.
I would like to make some comments if that's okay. It's nice to meet everybody. My name is Ann Hager. I am a graduate of John Carroll University 2015. I actually just got married at St. Francis Chapel in October to my husband, who also went to John Carroll. I am a nurse. I just became a nurse practitioner, and I have always worked at university hospitals, Cleveland Medical Center, first in the cardiothoracic ICU, and now with the structural heart team with advanced cardiology. But I think this is great. I thought the presentation was great. Jamie, you really seem like you know what you're talking about. The simulations, I did an accelerated BSN at Ursuline College, and it was spot on. You really know what you're talking about. It brought me back, a little trauma, but brought me back. But anyways, I think this is great. I did a biology degree at John Carroll, and every single one of my prerequisites was met by this biology degree. And I've said this for years now, that John Carroll is the perfect institution for nursing. Everything that John Carroll stands for goes toe-to-toe with the nursing profession. And it's a phenomenal profession. Having a John Carroll grad as a nurse really is exceptional. I love John Carroll. I'd love to be a part of this in any way, shape, or form. I'm actually adjunct faculty at Ursuline College right now. And I aspire, down the line to teach. So this would definitely be something that I'd be interested in and support. And I would love to help out in any way, shape, or form. It's a phenomenal idea. And I think it would be a very smooth transition.
Any other, go ahead.
I was gonna say thanks, Annie. We can connect after if you want.
Sure, that'd be great.
So any other comments or questions?
There is a question in the chat. What's the difference between a physician assistant and a nurse practitioner? Jamie, if you want to take that.
So they both have about the same amount of education. So they're both at this point master's degrees. So about the same amount of time. So one of the differences is just scope of practice. Unfortunately, state by state defines this. But no matter what state you're in, the nurse is responsible to themselves. They have their own independent license. They're never responsible to a physician. So one of the best ways to think about it is, especially in a rural area, the nurse practitioner can open up a practice where a physician assistant couldn't, because they're needing physician support and sign off and have to have a physician present for their work to continue. But very similar scopes.
Yeah, I would say from an educational institution perspective, a physician assistant is a whole different scaffold of program to set up. And there are accreditations based on that. It's not unlike building a nursing program, but a nursing program is more flexible, functional, sort of broad. So we have the nursing program, we can build a nurse practitioner into that. But that's additional accreditation, it's additional work, but it's on top of what is already done. Whereas a physician's assistant, we would have to build that infrastructure separately, and it's not cheap. It's on the order of what it would take to build a nursing program. So we've chosen to go this direction because it offers us more opportunities.
Well, yeah, let me add that. You're right from the academic standpoint. So they're both, the nurse practitioner, undergrad, grad nurses are accredited by the same organization as CCNE. So it would be similar. It'd be building upon what's already there. And where the physician assistant models build on a medical model. And so that would require a whole different type of structure and accreditation.
There's also a question about how can we leverage program courses and professors and other programs in STEM, psych, sociology, even business. For instance, a commercial acumen for insurance services. Is there an opportunity for other departments' collaboration in nursing program delivery? So the first answer to that is the first year of the nursing program, you don't take any nursing courses, you take prereqs. And a lot of those are STEM based, not all of them, but many of them. And some sociology, psychology related, not unlike pre-med. And so, yes, we will be relying on that infrastructure, that strong foundation to launch our nurses, and you would start nursing courses in their sophomore year. So it's going to look confusing. We talk about nursing as a 3-year program, but really it's sophomore, junior, senior year. So it's a 4-year degree, but it's a 3-year nursing program. And so that obviously gives us some opportunities because students come in, they have to take prereqs and then launch into nursing. And that allows us to stage people that come in or perhaps may change their mind or decide to add or drop out as we move in. Is in terms of, I think, a broader question you're asking, how can we leverage nursing right? There are lots of different ways to do this. Nursing and data analytics is huge now, especially as we move into the graduate level. Nursing and diversity, nursing and there's a number of things, nursing and management. There's a number of pathways we can go. So Jamie, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, we were looking at some of those opportunities as some of the non-clinical tracks are just like what Steve said, just so inherently already John Carroll and built upon all the amazing business and leadership experiences that students are already having at John Carroll. So it just makes perfect sense to move into some of those non-clinical nursing master's degrees can happen very rapidly after this launch. So just in a matter of years, couple years.
Hi, my name is Kristen Daly, and my father-in-law, Don Daly, is on the faculty there. I have a question, actually probably 2 questions. My daughter is applying to John Carroll as an incoming freshman. She's anxiously awaiting an email. If she were to get accepted, I guess I'm trying to better understand, as a freshman and for the fall class of 2022, then, do they go into the pre-health program and then they would apply for the nursing program? And then the other question is, how competitive I know, other schools have pretty competitive nursing programs as well. What's the interest you're seeing now for the incoming class? So assuming she goes into the pre-health her first year, then what happens second year, and how does that process work for the incoming kids that are interested in nursing?
So let me take that first, and Jamie, if you want to add, you're
Sure.
welcome to. We're doing a little bit of a tightrope walk right now because we do not have a nursing program and we cannot represent that we have a nursing program. As we are telling today, we are building a nursing program, and we can easily come out and say, this is our intent, this is the direction, here's the progress we've made. But we cannot say to any student, we have nursing, or even we're going to have nursing, because that is an approval process, both internal and external, that we have to adhere to legally and otherwise. Now, we expect that in our process, we will get approval to offer our nursing program probably by the fall of 22. Once that approval comes, we can say, all right, here's the nursing program done. Now, any first year is going to take all the prereqs. So students that are existing here could then say, I'm going to start nursing the following year in 23, right? And yes, students could come in here on, I'll put it this way, on the hope that we will have it. We expect to have it, but we cannot promise it. Sure. And so students that are here, we expect, they're not going to be a large number because we haven't had all the advertising. In fact, we can't do that until we have the programs approved. So some number of them are likely going to transition into the nursing program beginning fall of 23. And then we'll be actively recruiting for a new class 23 that would actually start their nursing courses in 24. So a little confusing, but that's what we have to walk that tightrope, because we're in this approval process and we can't represent we have a program until it's been approved.
But I do think there's a high likelihood that someone like your daughter, who would start in the fall of 22, could finish a BSN in 4 years at John Carroll. So
that is our intention.
That is the intention, is 1 year prereqs and then 3 years of nursing school, 6 semesters. And if all goes, as it's been going ahead of schedule, then that's how it'll look. And I have a son who's interested in becoming a freshman at John Carroll too. So maybe they'll meet her.
That would be nice. So, okay. So I guess everything looks to be moving forward, and obviously nothing is official and out there and approved, but worst case scenario, you still have an excellent co-op program with these other schools that you have your students
Yes.
Yes.
allow the ability to earn nursing
Yeah.
degrees, but hopefully that
And
won't be the case going forward, so.
Yeah, like what Anne described, it's not uncommon that somebody gets a bachelor's degree in something, biology or such, and then goes to an accelerated program, which could be 12, 16, 18 months long to become the BSN registered nurse. And so they're still only 22 years old at that point.
Mhm. Yeah, okay.
I mean, honestly, the likelihood that we would not be approved is small,
Right.
very small, in my opinion. That said, I'm not going to present how long it's going to take because these things can run into snags, but we would work through them. You know, best case scenario, we would know by late summer of 22 next year. And more likely it's going to be into the fall. And so we would know probably after the start of the semester that we've been approved and we can actually officially recruit. And then people who are existing here or who perhaps would transfer in
Mhm.
would be officially in the nursing program.
Okay, great, thank you. I
As
appreciate it.
mentioned in my introduction, I have done this before with other inaugural groups, and that inaugural class of nursing student is just the most special. They have the most time and attention and love and prayers upon them. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that.
So Steve, there is a question in the chat asking about our business plan and also about competition. So the question is, our goal is 60 students a year to break even so we wouldn't break even until 2025. So this is only 2021. So does your business plan take into account competitive responses from Case, Cleveland State, and Ursuline's programs? Also, does the business plan take into account if we only get 40 students and not 60? How much discounting are we doing? And where are the startup funds coming from as enrollment declines? So I'll take the last question if you can take the other ones.
Sure.
So we think we're doing this program, which will drive enrollment up beyond where it is today.
Correct.
In order for us to launch the nursing program, we need donor support. So this is none of these startup funds are coming out of our operating budget. So that's why we're asking our community to help give us seed money. So if you want to take the competition and if we only get 40 or 50 students.
Yeah. So to go back to Doreen's point, the numbers that she quoted about the business analysis. So we have done a 5-year budget. Actually, it's a 6-year budget for our nursing program, and we're doing that now for all programs. But that the break-even point assumes that all of this is on John Carroll's dime, so to speak. So if we get support from our donors, then effectively we break even when we start. So that's our goal, right? But we didn't assume that as we planned the budget. We assumed we'd have to invest in it, and that takes it off the table. So we could start actually on a positive day one if we get enough donor support. And that's certainly our goal, and that's what our hope would be. And it's part of the reason we're passionate about asking for your support and passion. So the business analysis, does it take into account the local and regional market and competition? Yes, it does. Those of you who know John Carroll know that Ursuline College is right down the street, almost literally. They have a nursing program. Almost across the street from us is Notre Dame College. They have a nursing program. Case has a nursing program. I believe Cleveland State has a nursing program. I'm not sure about Akron and Kenton, but excuse me, Kent State. But we have 6 BSN programs in our region. All of them, well, not all of them. I've spoken to many of their nursing officers. Same reaction is, why doesn't John Carroll have a nursing program? You guys would be awesome for this. It's really kind of curious, right? Competitors are saying you should have it. And it's largely because the need for bachelor prepared nurses is so great that there really isn't a spirit of competition, because you're going to attract the people that are right for your institution, and we're going to attract the people right for their institution. And it actually takes a lot to scale up, because there's a lot of infrastructure that's necessary. So most of these places already have their programs that are fit for what their institution can handle. And you can't just say, we're going to double our number of nurses, because you've got labs, you've got sims, you've got ancillary experiences. You have to be able to absorb, and that is not trivial. So in that sense, the sensitivity analysis is that we believe there's still space in this market. We strongly believe there's space in this market for us to bring in the 60 to 100 students. We are getting them, coming to them, not that necessarily that much, They're coming to us asking for nursing now, and when they find out we don't have it, they're moving away. So we don't believe this is going to be a tough challenge. Are we going to get 60 in the first year? Likely not. Are we going to get 60 by year 3? I'm pretty confident of that. Are we going to get more than that? I'm hopeful, but we'll see. That's why we pitched it for 2 cohorts of 30, 60 total, tried to be conservative, and we'll see, the market sees where that goes. The other thing I would say is the nursing students, nursing programs are strong programs. Because of the way they're structured, and because of the accreditation and oversight, you cannot let weak, pardon my language, but you cannot let weak students want to become nurses, because they have to pass the licensure exam, the NCLEX, at a certain pass rate, or your program goes on probation. And you have to maintain a certain retention of nursing students, or your program gets dinged for it. So that's why it's so competitive to get in these nursing programs, because if you have weak students and you say, I want to bring in 50% of them are going to leave, the nursing program doesn't persist very long. John Carroll already has a strong reputation for bringing in very qualified and strong students. Our challenge, I think, is on the other side, bringing students that may not be as qualified, but how do we walk them through and mentor and make sure they get through? And that's the student success aspect that Doreen mentioned before. So those are good challenges to have. We believe John Carroll already attracts these strong students that will be perfect for a nursing program. And I really have no concerns that we stack up well to any of the competitors in our region. I think we're better than almost all, if not all, of the competitors in our region. And the students are going to recognize that. That's not just hopeful, that's based on data as well. Jamie, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, you're right, because there was the research study that John Carroll did, market analysis. And so you're right, when it comes to they surveyed, they studied, they looked around, and it is not just one of the most one of the majors that students were interested in, but it has such viability and great potential. That's what the research came out to point at, that this is just absolutely the right fit and the right timing.
Okay. So maybe one last question. I want to be sensitive to time. We said this would take an hour over your lunch hour, and we are at 12:52. Is there one final question or comment? Okay, I'm not hearing one, and I'm not seeing anything pop in the chat. Well, on behalf of John Carroll University, we are happy to have shared this with you today. We welcome your feedback. Call us, send us a note, reach out to us as we continue to develop this program and create this program and develop enthusiasm for it, and also generate philanthropic support. So thank you for your time today. Look for more invitations for exciting programs like this coming your way. And thank you. Thank you.